Good. Well, Steve, I'm glad if you can hear me, I can hear you just good.
I can. I can hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. So I didn't want to pull you away from making your money there with your appointment. What is it that you do?
Oh no, I said I had an appointment. I went in. I was getting my back taken care of.
Oh, oh boy.
Yeah, yeah. So what I do for a living though is I work at a data center, making a billionaire, more billions every year. So
For someone
I know
else.
I get. Yeah, yeah. So I've recently started. I joined Herbalife
Okay.
and as a distributor out there, and I'm a rookie to this whole thing on selling products, let alone selling myself. I'm not much of a people person, ever have been. I've always just been on the outskirts, making the whole world live, and I mean, I'm the guy that makes all these antennas work and makes sure all the lines, the fiber that the government uses. I've been a contractor there all over. I've been all over the islands working, and I'm tired of busting my knuckles so much into making everybody else a lot more money than what I get.
Yeah, I,
So to
I can
speak.
understand. I appreciate that. Sounds like the little bit of the entrepreneurial spirit bug is starting to stir in you. I can understand.
Yeah,
It's a
for
scary
sure.
thing. Yeah, for a lot of folks, it can be a scary thing. There's work to it, but the best thing that you did, whether it's with me or anybody, Steve, the fact that you're willing to go reach out and check out into a coach, and that says something a little bit about your brains. You think like I do, and that, you know, I use this as an example. Michael Jordan, when he retired from basketball, he started to play uh, baseball. And most folks don't know the very first thing he did is he got a coach and to help him about hitting the ball and and all the stuff, the position and how to play the game mentally. And he paid a ton of money for a coach, which is very interesting. As successful an athlete he was, he still got himself a coach. So I admire you for that, at least taking some time to do that. I'm open to, I know this for years ago, I was in the multi-level business and I got up in quick start, I got up to making about 30, 40K in it. And so I know the work and the people person you got to be and the meetings you got to set and the appointments that don't keep and appointments that do keep. So I certainly relate to what you're thinking about and the whole mentality of product to do a little bit and then do a lot of recruiting, helping people with their business, build businesses. I understand the process. It can take some time if you've got an upline that is I guess servant oriented as opposed to self oriented. Do you have a chance? If it's self oriented, you don't, because it's going to be all about them, making you do things that benefit them and not benefit you. But sometimes it's a little late to get into to finally realize that's where they're at. I saw a lot of folks who went through that journey and it just they lost their shorts. I'm not saying you will, but I'm just saying you got to be really careful and do a little digging to find out the team that you're joining, if they're going to be there for you and they have the success and they have a pattern that you can step into and model. That'll be good. I'm hoping if you really like that. It is a new experience because
Yeah.
networking today, a lot of folks do a lot of building for their team, so they don't have to make a call. They don't have to do the meetings and that kind of thing. And in some ways that good, but the price that you pay to have to go through that makes you a leader, whereas you're just having the leaders do it and you hope and you're at their prey and back and call. Hopefully they'll do things, but it doesn't change you. It doesn't grow you is all I would say. It may grow your
Correct.
okay, but it's really nice when it grows you that no matter what in the future, you can step into something and make it happen because you became the leader you always wanted to be. Anyhow, that's just a little thought process there for you in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, any specific questions that you'd like to know about me, about you? Let me know about you. What would you like to take this time? This is your time. I'm happy to walk you through some things, but I want to make sure I give you the time to talk and ask the questions.
How did you start? Well, like what's your background? What did you go from, like myself? Did you go from something that you were once passionate about, being like, oh, what the hell am I doing, to figuring out, okay, this is my gig?
Yeah, good questions. Let me tell you a little bit about the history. I hopefully be quick and short. I'm recording this video so I can save it and shoot it off to you, so you don't have to worry about taking notes and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
drive safe and do what you need to do, because you'll get it in the email and you'll be able to look at it and go and pick things that, oh, I should write. It's all recorded for you, okay? So
perfect. Thank you.
I'm Martin Braden's my name, and I'll tell you a quick story. I'm 67 years old in July. I'm married 45 years in August. I've had 8 children who passed away. I have 6 living children, 14 grandchildren, and I've been in the business world since I was 21. And then at 21, I had a couple years of college under my belt. I was an artist and did landscapes and oils and portraits and that kind of thing, and started to try to make a living doing that. And I got so sick of people saying it doesn't match my couch and pillow, you know, the picture, color scheme, whatever, instead of really doing a lovely thing. Anyhow, I transitioned. Then I was going to say, do I got to go to college and graduate, become a doctor and a master's in art and that kind of thing? So I kind of found myself going from one little business to another little business, another little job, trying to learn selling. And I did have many a stint of unemployment, 2 of which were a year long, very devastating struggle. But for the past, 30 years or so, I started to do really well in selling, and I learned and took some courses and had a couple mentors that really helped me. And years ago, Steve, I got involved with a company called Worldwide Dream Builders. It was an Amway-based company, but they had a very unique system. And that's when I went up to become a Ruby and made some great money. But some of the leaders fell apart and went all sorts of places. And the organization, I wanted to have something to really stick, and stayed. And a while ago, about 20 years ago, I started a business called True North Business Development. I started counseling and consulting with small business owners in marketing. I was good at marketing, so I helped them, and specifically honed in on permission-based, not junk mail, but permission-based email marketing. So I never did spam. And I help people, businesses, small businesses in particular, learn how to start capturing their people's walking through their door, their brick and mortars, capturing the emails so they can start doing marketing and draw them back into the store and to buy over and over again. And I got up to where I have 300, 350 accounts, doing some really good business with them. They loved it. I had my account stayed with me for months on end. My longest account was 11 and a half years. And to be paid $100 a month for 11 and a half years for a 15-minute sale, that's a good way to get a residual income. So it's great.
Wow.
You get accounts, but many of them have closed their businesses and sold their businesses and did all sorts of things. And I started to see this world of the internet change. So I went in and did some real honing in on the internet world, and realized that my background was setting me up for the stage to really do well in that. And I went out, I didn't know a lot about it, but I came across a company called Top 10 Reviews. And I became a senior account manager for about 350 businesses, mainly small business, all the way up to a few enterprises like Microsoft and Adobe and so forth. And I did what's called affiliate marketing with them. The company I work for had their websites built. So whenever somebody came in to do a look at a comparative, we had 10 businesses, they did a comparative. Whenever they came to look, they liked what they saw, many would buy, and we got paid as a company commission on that software, on that product, whatever. And so I did about $7 million in affiliate sales over the short time I was with them. Made some good money, made about, in 4.5 years, about $1.5 million. And then they sold the company. They sold the company, which really is interesting, but they had a company come in and they did a merger and acquisition. And then about 3 or 4 months later, they closed down our entire department because they thought the new company that they bought and brought into it would be able to do all the selling. Well, 6 of us went away. And that's I decided to retire and take that money. And I had some unique things happen in the end of 2019. And on the first day of 2020, I had just a real epiphany with some things called Instant Manifestation Secrets audio series that I paid $17. It was $397, but I got it for $17 at a real quick out sale. And it changed my world. It changed my world. I then I looked at some things, followed the steps, and decided I wanted to become a business coach, but particular for beginner entrepreneurs that are just starting that process with all the fears, because I've been doing it for 40 plus years. And it's been fun how that whole process, wow. And I've got a website called livingthedream.com. So you'll be able to look that up once you listen to this video. It's not living, but living, L-I-V-I-N, thedreamcoaching.com. On that page, there's some podcasts for free. On that page, it talks about content. It shares my story, has a few videos. So you'll be able to look at that And then I have what's called a video journal that shows when that first day of 2020, what happened that whole year, what I did. And it's just been an incredible thing. So I know about selling, I know about marketing. I can certainly help you from breaking the nose by trying to reinvent the wheel and follow those kind of things. But it is work, but with the right work and the right understanding about what kind of why do you have, what's your real, what I call a vision. A vision is different from most people, but I say the vision is all your separate goals, Steve, that you have. If you're to go 5 years and imagine what you want to be living like in your most perfect day in the future, and you take visually what you're doing and where you're living and how you're living, you're doing your laptop work on the beach because you can be anywhere because of the kind of business you have, that kind of thing. Those goals are what make up the vision, because when you write that out and then you take those goals and break it down to steps to get the goal done, that becomes your task. And that'll be applicable to the business you're talking about in the MLM world or networking, marketing, or it can be in your own brick and mortar business. The same principles apply so that you are not all over the map, not knowing how to start. You get right to the heart of where you need to start and then build out your year and then back it down to what's going to happen on July 8th, tomorrow, your list and the best way to prepare a list and make things happen for you. Because if you don't, you're going to be 6 months down the road and not any further along than you are today. And you got to be careful about that. And so I would help you with those kind of things. Okay. So that's all part of my lessons. You won't see it. You will see, you're driving, so I don't think you can see this. So I will go ahead and do a share screen so later you can see what I'm talking about. But I'm going to go to a page right here and share. It's my website. I'm going to scroll to the top. And up here it says about, so you can learn about me. It has podcasts. It has video journal, let me help, and coaching system. On this coaching system, I'm going to click on it because I have 12 sequential steps. That's the keyword, sequential. 12 sequential steps, lessons that are videos, half hour to 45 minutes long. Let's see this thing. It's still turning. Here we go. And when you see these lessons, you're going to see 12 little thumbnails here of the lessons. And you'll see the title, how to come up with a good business idea, identify your target market, reach your competition, and so forth. And I'm looking at it, you click on it, and it'll open up a gold list of what I cover during that lesson. And so that'll give you an idea. And then the other thing that's going to be at the top here, let me help. I won't open that up now, but that let me help shows 3 different ways I coach. It'll talk about pricing. It'll talk about what that coaching is. And the best way I can describe it is personal one-on-one like we're doing for an hour session. Then I have what's called a Zoom coaching call that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, people can come in, whether it's 1 person or 25 people or 100, doesn't matter. I take the first 6 and we do 15, 20 minutes of coaching on each one of them. But people kind of look in at that and watch and learn from their questions. It answers their questions usually. Then if we don't, you can go to a thing that's called Ask Coach B and type in your title of question, type in your question, and within 24 hours, I answer it through that online Coach B, Ask Coach B. And then I tie things up maybe once a month or once every 3 weeks. It can be once a week, but I do the personal coaching if they're not getting what they're really needing and they want that personal one-on-one. And so cost-wise, so you know, to join the membership, to become part of the coaching, what I call the Living the Dream coaching community, it's $50 a month. That entitles you to those group lessons, the Ask Coach B, and listening to what they do, and even being asked to answer your questions, because you might even be asked to be on that as well. I'll answer questions. And then the lessons are $50. People might want to do one once a week. They want to do it once every 2 months. It's entirely up to their speed, Steve, how they want to do those 12 lessons, how fast they want to move through them, whether they want to even use them all. That's up to them. And again, it's $50 for an hour with me. So the most you'd pay is $150 for the entire month to get an hour's coaching, to do the lesson, to do all the Zoom coaching calls and the back and forth questionnaire, which is pretty good. And that I do some folks, if they want to buy it all and be done with it, it's $475 instead of $600 for the 12 lessons and $475 for the year instead of $600 for the year. It's about $900 for the entire year to have everything if you wanted to pay it up front. But most people want to piecemeal it and kind of go at their own pace, and that's okay with me as well. So I'm going to stop sharing, and you'll be able to look at that and get a sense of what I'm talking about. Now, coaching, there's 2 sides. There's the personal business acumen side. What about networking? How do I run a business? How do I set it up? How do I come up with the right idea? And then there's the mindset, which in your network marketing really applies. And that is the business owner success mentality. How to get the right mindset. What are the things you're going to do on a little daily basis to help get your brain doing what it needs to do every day to get you over the hump and not to get implode and have the impromptu emotional explosions, IEDs, I call it, blow up in front of you and set you back and you procrastinate, all those kind of things. I'm going to help you to do a little daily routine that'll really uplift you and keep your brain focused, like Michael Jordan needed to get his brain focused, or Tom Brady needs to keep his brain focused. We're going to get your brain focused. So I do both of those. Okay.
Okay.
Now, are you set? I'm not saying you're trying to steal the dream on that, but are you pretty well set on the Herbalife side of things? Want to give it a shot for a while? We can focus on that because it's pretty.
Yeah, I've been doing it so I've been taking their products for well over a year. And then where I'm at now is like, I've got coaches that I've known for a while, and they're like, they want me to be a coach. I just don't have the confidence. And I don't know why. Again, it's because I've never been a people person. And quite honestly, as much as I say it, everybody argues with me, like saying that I'm not a people person. They're like, oh, but you are. I'm like, but I'm not. I'm that guy. I'm the asshole. I'm the guy that says things that nobody else wants to say, that's afraid to say. And I don't cut corners. I don't fluff anything up. I say what needs to be said. And a lot of the times either it offends somebody, and that's why there's certain people that I guess I gather a lot of my stuff from, on the internet, on social media. One guy in particular, his name is Swole Normans. He does his own thing. And I see eye to eye with the guy because I kind of see a lot of the stuff that I do. So somebody will come up and say, oh, well, I'm a little bit round over here. It's like, okay, let's just not cut any corner. You're fat. You need to lose what? Let's just say it. You're fat and you need to lose the excess fat, and you're trying to just lose some weight. Exactly. So, but the thing is like, some people are like, oh, you can't say that. Well, of course I can say it. But my thing is that approach is too rough. Right.
But it's true. Truth is truth, though, Steve. And there's a way of sharing the truth, and I call it a sandwich method. And it's simply the fat part is in between. It's how to tell the truth without scuffing, step on their toes without scuffing the shine. And what you do is you sandwich it, and you sometimes do it through a third party, and they're going to get the message. You're going to say, most people don't realize, but their own self-sabotagers, because they're not doing the first step to success. The first step to success, I did a podcast of the 5 you'll come across. It's called, the first step to success is to get honest with yourself. Getting honest with yourself. If you're going to lie to yourself, you're never going to get off square one, because you're right. Telling yourself the truth. You're not being honest, so that you'll make the changes. You're thinking your old story. The old story is going to keep you embedded with is limiting belief system about yourself. That rickety table is not supporting a belief that's going to foundationally take you forward to be and let you show up as the person you want to show up. So you got to get honest with yourself. And I go through a whole little couple stories that tell people they can't help but realize, okay, I got to look in the mirror. Maybe I'll even go with somebody who loves me enough to tell the truth to me and be kind about it, but tell the truth to me. And then I can start from there to start making change. And that's really the challenge. I won't show it here. I've got a picture of it. If I can, I'll show you this way. One of the tools I have, you don't wreck, but I'm going to hold this up here, is called the CT-FAR model. And that CT-FAR model has the CTFAR. It's circumstance, thoughts, feelings, actions, results. And the circumstances is something we cannot change. And it's got to be right. The bare bones facts. I need to lose weight, or I'm fat. Let's say, take that one, which I am. Okay, number 2. The second one is thoughts. We can't change the circumstances, but we do things and we think that we're going to change, but we're not going to be able to. The thoughts that we're having is what we're given the power to. And we've got to change our thoughts to be right thinking so that we end up with the right feelings. Feelings flow from those thoughts. And if we have bad feelings, emotional, that's bad emotion and negative, our actions are going to be and behaviors are going to be negative, and we're going to end up with poor results. And you never want to say what you don't want. You never want to think and say what you don't want to have happen. Why would you ever do that? So that's part of that getting honest. And the CT-FAR model I use a lot to help folks really step back, be honest and hold themselves in that palm of their hand, look at it, be observing, be compassionate, and be honest, and then say, okay, what are some alternatives to this thought? Maybe I'm not a people person, or that's just a story I believe about myself. What can I believe about being a people person is that, well, you just got to fail at it more. I talk to a person that was doing photography and it could hardly ever go out and talk to a person about selling photography. Why? They never done it. So they're scared. They're not honest. Let's just go fail at it. Just go talk to them about it and go fail and then go fail again and go and get up and get up and get. After 25 times of telling your story, you're going to have a pretty refined story and you're going to be a people person. I guess what I'm saying is it takes practice. It takes a little effort, and you may not be it now, but in a month, you may very well be so much closer to that than you ever would have imagined by doing a few things that will bring out the people person in you. So those are the kind of things I do. I talk at 40 miles an hour and gusts up to 100, but that's the kind of things that I share with you and the tools that I give you to help you be the person that's going to attract the people. They're going to start to trust you and follow and get on your team and follow in your march. Anyhow, that's my attitude about it.
I like it. I like it. I've heard a lot of I've been listening to Jim Rohn and Les Brown the last couple of weeks, and I've really gotten a lot of knowledge from those guys. When their basic message is like, there's nobody here that's ever made perfect. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to fail.
Yep.
So
failure is what success is based on. But he who
builds your foundation
wins. It's just that simple. As long as he learns from the failure, the broken nose. And the best kind of failure is to learn from someone else's broken nose so that you don't have to learn from yours. And then as you go through that process and look and be honest and take good notes and say, okay, now what am I doing here? And if somebody can step aside and look, here's what I heard you say. Did you mean to say? Maybe tweak it this way and see if it's not going to attract the people and leave the message that you're really wanting. What is your story? What is the thing that you're going to captivate the folks with? What is the thing that's going to say, man, I can do that if Steve can do that? Those kind of things, especially in the multi-level world, that world of going out to people who are saying, all of them are going to say to you, I'm not a people person. And to get that opportunity to sit down one-on-one. And another thing too, I don't know, maybe your team is doing something a little different. I'd have to understand about what they're doing in the way of volume and PV and the other numbers so that you get paid on the group dollar volume besides the base core of your own little sales. But what is the mentality? Do they put the people in for you? If not, you've got to do it. Then that's a whole work ethic that's going to take some of your evening or your lunch break or a Saturday to get in front of some people and tell the story in the right way. Now, today, there's so many more tools with social media and text and email. I mean, so many more things and YouTube. There's so many ways to get your story out. So you're not having to give up every one of your evenings, get in the car and go driving. And that's fantastic. That's exciting.
That's one thing that I've had to, so, me being in the data center industry and being in communications for the last 24 years, that's all I've ever done. I mean, I'm just, and to me now I'm kind of burnt out of doing all the wiring. And like, I no longer take side jobs and stuff like that. It's just, I'm done. I'm 43 years old, and it's not that I'm old. However, I've worked my time into it to where it's just old news for me. So where I'm trying to be is, quite honestly, where I'm at with this whole fitness thing, I have a 9-year-old son. I broke my leg in half back in 2009, which still to this day, like I feel the pain. And I mean, that's never going to go away. So accepting that fact that this pain's always going to be here, I had to figure out something else. So what I had to figure out with is I got to deal with the current pain while I'm pushing myself through this, so that I don't have that current pain it's hard to explain because like,
well, the
you
wiring
got to
work
push
is physical
yourself.
stuff, isn't it? The wiring work you do with the equipment and that kind of thing, and the communications world, isn't that physical, or is that not the physical?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes I mean, we're pulling in huge, like 60 amp cables. And I mean, every foot of that, I can't remember what they were saying, how much the weight of it is. Like every foot's like 5 pounds or something crazy. So like, there's just so many cables smashed into this big bundle that, pulling that, it takes a machine, and we don't have the machine. So we're
You are the machine.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yep. You got about three or four of us. We're doing it. We just keep it up.
I'm going to ask you a couple, three hard questions. Number one.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the word passion? I'm sure you are. But
Yes.
How would you describe passion? And when you see somebody has a passion for something, how would you define yourself?
I would describe passion as being part of almost someone's obsession. Okay. I don't want to think of obsession as being something bad. It can be something very good. You can be obsessed with your health to an extent. Like myself, I think I've kind of started having an obsession with the gym and me trying to figure out and overcome my current pains to that. Some people, oh, you live in the gym. I'm like, well, okay. Not really. I'm there often enough to where I have passion for sweating and
sacrificing and giving up that time that you'd be doing something else to do that. That's okay.
Correct.
A little string with you. First word is opinion, and then opinion leads to a belief, and a belief can be belief can overcome an opinion if you got more thoughts on it than yourself did. When somebody else has, and it may change your opinion, but a belief then leads to what I call a conviction. Are you convicted about it? Certainty, maybe that's a better word, having opinion, beliefs, and certainty. And out of certainty, when you truly have enough legs to support the certainty of what you're doing, it gives birth to a passion because you're just so into it. I mean, Tom Brady is obsessed and it's such a passion. He's 43 years old, going 44, and he does the same thing for his body. I mean, he's passionate about football. So I asked that for this reason. Number one, I suspect your why is deeper than what you've said about this, your son and your knee, and your leg and that kind of thing. But I do have a concern in that if you could define your why are you doing this? Why are you want to do? Well, you need to do something else because you've already maxed out. You know what you're worth doing what you're doing, and they're not going to pay you 2 or 3 incomes for the same thing you're doing now. It's maxed, and that's okay. It's probably good pay, but it's maxed unless you give more hours and take away from family, whatever. It's just the nature of the vehicle you have. The second thing I would ask you about is your vision. You need to take a notepad like I've got right here, these little cheap notepads right here, and a blank one. And I want you to take some time where you have a couple, 3 hours late at night, whatever, and just imagine your perfect day 5 years from now and define it. How's your morning wake up? When do you wake up? Why are you waking up that time? What's motivating to wake up? All those questions, write it down, defining that vision, where you'll be at, who are you with, who are you taking with, what are you doing throughout the day? Are you on the beach now with your laptop because you're taking care of order, whatever you're writing that vision out, what it is you're doing for the whole, and if you get run out of ideas with just the first page, then you failed at it. You've got to really take up that pad and really fill it out. And then from there, sit back and say, okay, what do I have to do to have this to happen? What do I have to do? And on another pad, write out those titles with then maybe a subtitle. And then under the subtitle is the bullet points. And that's those bullet points is the daily tasks that you do. And because you're going to maybe have 20 of those major things that make up your vision, you're going to then look at that and say, okay, what one's the most priority? I mean, it's going to be a nice big house, but I got a good house. That's not, I see it there, but I'm really wanting this one. That's the first thing I want to get after is to learn that or to have that or to experience that. And then
small goals to accomplish your larger goals.
Right. I call this, it's attraction and manifestation. Attracting into the portal of your mind the vision that you want and you see yourself experiencing, and then doing the things, taking action to do those things that will manifest it into the world of physical. And Steve, it's one piece at a time. That's what those bullet points are. For example, I admire you that you're taking a coaching session. So now that's a step that a lot of folks didn't take and aren't taking. So in a sense, you're doing one extra step to accomplish. You're accomplishing right now is what I'm telling you. And it's stirring your brain. You don't have to wait until the end is all accomplished. The big picture is all done to say, I accomplished it. No, you're accomplishing every single day. You're having a high five on little steps every single day, checking it off, wadding it off, checking it off, wadding it off, and then continue on. And then the next one's there. And then the next one's there because you're prioritizing the night before of what your day is going to be. You're going to start strong. You're going to stay strong. You're going to end strong. Those things that will let you accomplish. And before you know it, you're going to be blown away how much of a people person you'll end up being, how much people are going to sit and listen to your expertise, how many people are going to be so excited that you helped them overcome what you had to overcome. Because see, learning and failing and getting up gives you a new story to tell to people because that's how you did it. The how you did it is what's so authentic. I guess what I'm saying is the MLM business is full of unauthentic people. They're not authentic. They're telling a story in that. And that's why many of them fail is they're not authentic when they're telling the story. And that's what you said. You're fat. You're a truth teller and you're going to be a truth teller about yourself. And people are going to hear the music behind your words because you're authentic. Because you did it and you experienced it and you had no problem saying, I really failed on that one. You wouldn't believe that story. And here's how it went, but here's what I learned. People are drawn to that because they believe it. They believe the table that you're holding up that's so no longer wobbly. It's so firm because it has passion exuding from it. Is that making sense of there? It is a 6 inches between your head. You will succeed by traveling those 6 inches and learning what you need to do to accomplish what it is you want to be a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, and then step it back and say, I've got a plan. I've got a daily work schedule. Got a routine in my morning when I'm going to tell myself because I want to tell what I know can happen. You know, football, I'm a football fan. You've heard of instant replay. I have a different word. You know what worrying is? Worrying is instant pre-playing what you don't want to have happen. People worry. They're just pre-playing in their head, something they really shouldn't want to have happen. So I say, what about the positive instant pre-play? Pre-play in your mind what's going to happen today, how you want it to happen today, what it's going to go like today. And if you're faced with a challenge, you're going to pre-play a positive and do and make that happen instead of being a self-fulfilling prophet of speaking what you don't want to have. Those are little tools that you're going to employ, and it's going to change you that in a month you're going to realize, look how my thinking has changed, how my thinking becomes much more strong, and my belief is what people are going to be drawn to because they see your table of all the what I call reference legs are supporting that are so strong because we'll believe things even if we didn't experience it if we have enough vivid imagination. I have a fourth podcast called Going to the Movies. It's all about this pre-playing. Bannister, back when I was born, he did the 4-minute mile, was the first man to break the 4-minute mile. He did it through instant pre-playing in his mind, thinking, imagine him doing it over and over again, physically doing the work, but in his mind, he did it over and over again. And when it came time for the Olympics, he broke that. What was interesting, because one man broke it, because up to them, no one believed the 4-minute mile could be broken. They thought the lungs would collapse. 37 people that next year broke it. And the year after that, over 300 broke it because he proved it could be done. And that's what you're doing. And so those are the things that I coach besides the business acumen kind of thing. And I give you a few resources to read and a couple of things to listen to and to watch. And I just get excited about helping somebody get their dream done and accomplish it and realize that it just doesn't come falling through heaven and attack you. Success doesn't attack us. We attack it. And the laws that we can employ start working in our favor. And before you know it, you're going to see things happen you had no idea was going to attract to you. So anyhow, the MLO side, you know, I never want to step on the coaches that you have. If they've done what they're telling you to do, you'll know it. But sometimes these folks show checks and that, but they really didn't keep all that. And they're not really making it now. It was maybe 2 years ago. I want you to be really careful that you follow coaches that are truly doing and are looked to that they're really doing what they're saying they're doing, and that you then can duplicate, because it's duplication, what they did, because it doesn't take a genius to duplicate some of those things. It should bear the same fruit, right? And if it doesn't, at some point in time, you need to stop and step back and get on and say, am I willing to go through a process of 10 years to finally get there? Or is there another? It comes down to vehicle, Steve, what the right vehicle is. When I joined Top 10 Reviews and I made that kind of money, it's because I had a terrific base salary. But I had a second thing that I learned I always should get excited about is a base plus. My plus was commissions based on other things that they were offering, letting me do. I treated that as my own business, that I could give myself a raise by selling things besides doing here. And I got paid 4 different ways for the same 40 hours a week.
Oh,
I
wow.
got my salary. I got this commission on the same amount. I got this different kind of commission on the same amount. I knew that they weren't doing this, but what if I did that? I'd get commission doing that. And I wrapped it into a total package, what I call it. And I just took a normal $1,000 commission to be a $25,000 commission, doing the same thing. And it has to do with the vehicle. There are some vehicles, just like the job that you're doing now, is never going to pay you what you truly could be capable of achieving, because the vehicle is so limited. And so when I help people determine what kind of business they want to get into, I try to ask them, what's their passion? What's their skill set? What are some things out there that let you make the kind of money you want, but has a tremendous leverage of what I would call repeat income, residual type income, income that pays you 4 and 5 different ways for the same thing. And now your hour goes from, you know, $50 an hour to $5,000 an hour. And that's because it's the same work, but you're working smart about it. So right now, the vehicle you're doing, it has the capacity to do that. There are some that are doing that. Percentage wise, it's a very small percentage that's going to hit that level. And you need to find out why they're doing it. And are they having smarter than you, working harder than you? What are they doing? I'm not doing, so you can make the same income. Otherwise, you may be one of the other 97 that are just making a lot of money for them because you're selling and using some product, but it's not bringing you the income that you want. And I'm not trying to steal that dream of your upline or yours. I just trying to, what I say, stay honest, be the first step to success, and evaluate and say, okay, I'll look those things. I'll check those things out so that I truly have and put the best principles of my potential success in order. Otherwise, we'll be having a conversation 2-3 months from now and not a lot of change. And that's a lot of time to lose, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My ultimate goal is like, so I want to start my own gym, and I don't want a regular gym where you just go in there, okay, go over Tom and Joe and go do your bench press over there and this and that. You guys go do your legs. Okay, have a nice day. I, as much as I'm not a people person, I want to make sure the guys are lifting right. I want to make sure that their form's right. Like, so again, that kind of rolls into my passion, because I've been in this for so long and I've hurt myself so many different times until I finally got to coach myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm protecting them at the same time, like feeling good about myself because I'm now not watching those guys get injured, you know. And I guess I've learned to develop some gratitude waking up in the morning. And that's another thing. I learned from Les Brown and stuff like that. Just really tried to listen to these guys as I'm going into work, and instead of all the music, and just get rid of that noise. And I'll listen to the, you know, Tony Robbins and everybody's just got like a positive impact in society somehow. I mean, not everybody's going to obviously strike me in the same way, but,
what's the possibility of becoming a physical trainer, a physical fitness trainer in home to begin with, personal appointments, and helping and go them and being there for that hour, and having to another one, having it be a price that you then learn to develop the curriculum so that when you do set up that, you've got a client.
I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. I do have a NASM book, and I've been studying for it. So I'm going to go to try to take my test here in the next, I'm going to give it 6 months. I'm not rushing it. I'm going to really pound that book, and I've already started over a couple times because just my thoughts aren't there, and I'm reading, but I'm not interpreting and I'm not understanding. So I'm just reading the words. So I've had to start over a couple times already.
That's
just
part
because
of the vision is what you're saying. That's on that list. At the perfect day a year from now. Yep. Put it down there. Many people, if they don't write it down, Steve, like I discussed, it stays in their head and it starts to bounce all over the place, and you can't remember, you can't keep, you can't be focused. Write it down. You know it's where it's at, you know it's there, and now it's out of your head to have fresh ideas, fresh stuff to come into track,
right,
and then to manifest. If you get it clogged, it's less like a pipe. Those thoughts aren't going to come because they're hitting in and there's no room. Get it down. I don't care if you think it's a year from now, right? I'm going to pass this test, whatever. I'm going to have this credential, and then here's by the certain date, but here's what that means. And here's what what I need to do. So I need to keep in mind, this is kind of a target date. Now it's written down and it's there to remind you. Now you can focus on the other things that are more pressing right now. And then you'll shuffle and finally find a priority. You'll say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. So write it down, get it out of your head. Don't just think about it.
All right.
Write it down. And
so I also this weekend I just bought I bought an affirmation journal.
Awesome.
And it also includes, you know, and it's the first time I've ever done this as well. So it's things, obviously you're saying write things down. This thing, it's exactly perfect for doing everything that I should be writing down. The things that you're grateful for in the morning, and it gives you 31 days. You write all those things, like every morning, write what you're grateful for. When you wake up, what's the first thought that comes in your head? Write it down. I'm like, oh, okay, I've never done this before. So
you know what that's called? That's called a power statement. There's a gentleman by the name of Croy Sather. He did Instant Manifestation Secrets. That's part of my story. I got and bought that. Whenever somebody becomes a client of mine, their first $50, I buy that package, the $397 package. I buy it and send it to them for free. And there's all these videos and less audios that talk of everything you're talking about. Win the morning, win the day. That's what I read every morning. It's 5 pages I typed up. I have my affirmations, my favorite affirmation. I read that every morning. I write my thoughts just to be writing it down. And the first thing is, what can I do better? What did I do well? What am I grateful for? I go through that each night and I write that down. And then out of that, what can I do tomorrow that would make the most impact? My son, my family, my job, whatever. What's the one thing tomorrow that can really impact tomorrow and beyond? And then write that in a statement. I will do blah, blah, blah. Short thing. And that's your power statement for the next day. At the end of the day, account to yourself. How did I do on that power statement? Was I grateful? Did I show up how I wanted to show up? Was I the person, the better me that I intended and hoped to be? Those kind of things you go through, that little 10 minutes before you hit the head and go to bed, you know, how to lay down. And then you already know, plus you give your subconscious mind, your vibrational mind an assignment. I'm needing this. I don't have an answer for that. Send it out, go to sleep, let it wake you up at 2 in the morning, have a sticky pad, write it down when they come back with the answer, because they're going to come back with the answer for you. All the questions you doubt, that universe out there is going to bring it back to you, and you just be ready for it. And you're going to get piece after piece after piece of your dream accomplished if you do the things that we're talking about here. And that's part of that little package that I talk about, that I give away for free. It's so cool, so fun.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. You've hit a lot of the things that, like I said, I've been listening to a lot of these influential speakers and stuff on podcast over the last couple of weeks, and I've really been taking the next steps again, getting the journal and stuff this week. And I'm trying. I'm pushing through.
I'd be high-fiving you right now. Out of you. You're doing things, you're feeding your brain, and we just got to tone it in to where it's focused on getting done what you want to get done and having a plan.
Yeah, it starts off with writing that stuff down, man. Like you're exactly right with that. It's the one thing that it's been holding myself back. I haven't been writing shit down. I just been
busy
going with the flow, and
you're being a dad.
I just need to make the time. Yeah, I just need to make that time though, and I make time for everything else, the gym and this and that. Like I got to make 5 minutes, 10 minutes to sit down and start doing that. I've been doing some meditation in the morning too. I'll wake up around 4 or whatever. I go in my backyard and just listen to the pool and stuff and the fountain that's in there, and just try not to think about anything. But it's hard because I've been plagued with negativity, you know, and it's really one whole soul core thing where it comes from. And it's the consistent fighting with my son's mother. And I don't want it.
Old story. It's your old story. It is there.
Yes.
It is there, and it's what's coming forward. But like I said on the CT-FAR, your wife, the divorce, the ex-wife, you can just put in the circumstance, my ex-wife. And then the thoughts, she's not the problem, Steve. It's your thoughts about her that's the problem. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's those that are controlling, and you're giving her then that sense of control.
Absolutely.
Of life because of the thoughts you're doing. When you take back and say, I'm going to be compassionate. I can't do anything to change her, but I'm going to look at me. I'm going to say, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? You need to be compassionate. You need to be curious about yourself. It's 3 C's: curious, compassionate, and then also say, confident, I'm going to overcome this. I'm going to do this. So those 3 C's will take back that thoughts, and then you're going to look at 4 or 5 different options Some might even be ridiculous, but I'm going to look at them and say, what if I thought this about that? What's the feelings that I get, and where do I feel those feelings here? And what do those feelings make me want to do? And what is the actions going to bring in the way of results? If it's negative things, emotions that we're feeling, it's because the results is going to match up the thoughts. If the thoughts are negative, your results, you can count on it. It's going to be a problem. So that's the routine you're going to go through, and you're going to ultimately write your own new story, and it's going to surprise you. I'm just telling you, you're going to write your own story, and people are going to say, what is with you? What happened? You're not, we know what's going on. Well, I'm writing my new story. That's what's
crazy is like, I'm starting to feel this change. Even today, I'm glad I spoke with you because you're a complete stranger, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to speak with someone on this because, not too many people know. I'm very loud, but yet I'm quiet about my own personal reserve,
You bet. I can appreciate that. Absolutely.
I definitely appreciate your time. You've kind of reassured me that a lot of the things that I'm kind of setting in front of me and the things that I'm doing, I'm on the right path because
you are.
You've duplicated what I've heard. I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right. Okay, somebody else. Okay, so I heard it twice. I'm doing something right. Okay.
That's awesome. Now, when I get this video here, I'll text it to you later tonight. Go to that website, go to the podcast because it's free, and listen to each one. They're 20 minutes long, whenever you can. First one, First Step to Success. Second one, Win the Morning, Win the Day. Third one, To Go on the Move. Read those 5 because it's kind of the core. It's going to repeat and confirm and affirm what you said, but you're going to hear some stories that you're going to realize what it's going to take for Steve to break out and get rid of that old story. It's right here.
Okay.
That's the 6 inches. And that's why you're seeing some different, you're starting to feel some different feelings. I'll tell you why. You're thinking differently. Your thoughts are changing and they do produce different feelings. And those feelings are making you do a little bit of behavior you wouldn't have done 3 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wouldn't have done. And that's going to produce what? New results that are positive.
Correct.
So we're going to do a lot of that. You're going to need to do a lot of that. And before you know it, the habit you're talking about and the power statement, the right thinking, is going to catapult you. You're going to look back and say, what the heck happened to me? This is unreal. And there's going to be people coming around you and saying, man, I got to get some of what you're taking. And that's changing.
Who is this guy? Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. It's so true. Anyhow, I don't want to pound. I don't do a hard close. You're going to look at my site and do some things. And if ever you decide to do something, I'll show you where you can go to sign up for the first lesson. The first lesson is $50. You're going to get that free gift from me. You don't give it back. You're going to have the business tools. And after the first month, if you find my coaching experience was not what you expected to be, wasn't what you anticipated, I refund the $50 and we're done. And I take you out of the system. I just don't want someone who's not pleased and happy with their experience because that's a relationship. We're building a relationship here. So just know if that's what you decide to do, there's no risk after that first month. If you don't like it, I'll refund it. It takes that long right in your account and we're done. But if you love it, then there'll be another month of doing better, another month of doing better, and you change and can choose each month to continue. Okay?
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time and again reassuring me that I'm following some path that's in the right direction. So
you're pointing in the right direction. I will say this, we're going to talk about some of the things you're going to speak because there's real power in your words. So even though you think that you're not a people person, I'm not going to argue with that fact. I just don't want you to speak it anymore.
Okay.
Because you're laying, you are telling your brain, I'm not a people person. Every time it comes out of your mouth, it comes right around into your ears, and it's going to believe that. And it's what I call mapping. It's laying down the mapping that your automaticity just follows, and you're going to do things that makes you not be a people person because you've said it over and over again. That's the only tip I'd say tonight. I'm going to also sign you up to what I call Good to Know Monday Tips. It's free. It's a little video tip I do each Monday. You'll receive that in your email. It'll say from Coach B, Living the Dream. You can cancel it whenever you want, but right now it's free. It gives you a little 15-minute fun tip about business and success. and you'll even have access to all the old ones if you want. But I'll get this recorded, edited, and shoot off the link to you, and you can look at it once you get it. And then I'll hopefully hear from you. Is there any other thing you want to ask me before we close this off? I don't want to cut you short. We still got a few minutes, but you can tell me what you need or not need.
No, we've covered it pretty broadly. Again, I thank you for your knowledge, and let me know that I'm doing something right.
You're doing something right. I'm old enough to be your dad. I know that sounds funny, but I have a 44-year-old daughter, and she's lovely, and 14 grandkids. I love people. I think you'll find that you're going to be quite surprised, because you do have it in you. There's no question in my mind. Just the things that you're doing, a lot of people say, and they just don't. And you're working, you're struggling. You've kind of reached that point that I've got to make a change, and changes are coming.
Yeah.
Changes are coming.
Absolutely.
So I'll look forward to hearing from you. I'll send some stuff to you in the email, so watch for that. Okay?
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
You have a good night. You betcha.
Okay. Bye now.